I'm reviewing guitars that cost $1 to guitars that cost over $1,000. And in this review, I almost messed up a guitar that costs over $2,000, but we'll get to that. And so the first guitar we'll be reviewing is this $1 guitar. 20 years ago, I bought this Squier Stratocaster. Well, it used to look like this. But I hated it. I've kept it around all these years, but honestly, nowadays, I just use it for parts to build weird guitars out of things like Lucky Charms and birthday cakes. I'd say this thing's worth only $1 after all it's been through. I bought it back in about 2004, and as far as I can remember, it wasn't a part of any particular series, like the Bullet series or the Affinity series. Pretty sure this was just like a base model Squier Strat that I bought brand new from Guitar Center for $99. And I immediately hated it. For two reasons. One, the frets stuck out from the fretboard and they were sharp. I tried filing them down, but like my 16-year-old self didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I even like filed into the fretboard on accident, and I finally just gave up and decided to just live with the sharp frets. And you know what? It just made this guitar really uncomfortable to play. The second reason I've hated it is that the pickups just sound bad. They're weak, two-dimensional, and just sound really flat. Guys, listen up. In my opinion, there's just two factors that determine whether a good guitar is a good guitar. The first thing is that it needs to feel good when you play it, because if a guitar doesn't feel good when you play it, you're not gonna play it. And a guitar that you don't play isn't a good guitar, right? The second factor is that it needs to sound good, because how could you feel good playing a guitar that doesn't sound good? And this guitar has failed both of those things, and it's made me think that Squiers are kind of stinky guitars. On our leaderboard, this guitar is in last place. I know it's the first guitar that we reviewed, and so it should be in first place, but it is in last place. John, go ahead, put this guitar in last place.
You got it, boss.
Now let's head over to a music store and continue this review with some more guitars. Let's go.
I set off with the Zoom recorder to see how Squier guitars compare to Fender guitars. The location? Guitar Center. Let's do it. The first guitar we're going to look at is the Squier Sonic Strat. Currently, this is Squier's cheapest guitar at $200. My expectations were low, but honestly, this guitar surprised me. The frets are perfect. They don't stick out at all, but I think that the fretboard material does matter because this fretboard is made of laurel, and see those two Strats behind me? Those are also Sonic Strats, but they have maple fretboards, and their frets do stick out, so just something to keep in mind. Aesthetically, I think you can tell that this is a budget guitar. Tone-wise, it's a little lacking. The pickups sound a little two-dimensional, but from a purely feel perspective, like if you play it with your eyes closed, it actually feels okay. If I were to sum this guitar up in one sentence, it would be basic, but fun. Honestly, I think that this would be a great starter guitar or a backup guitar. But before you go out and get one, be sure to check out this next guitar, which is the Squier Affinity Strat. The Squier Affinity series has been around forever, and I'd sum it up by calling it super cheap with a premium feel. This Affinity Strat comes in at $250, and that extra $50 over the Sonic makes a big difference. It has a single-ply pickguard, but they add this pinstripe around it to make it look multi-ply. It has a 2-point bridge, the back of the neck has a nice truss rod inlay, and the headstock has a gloss finish. None of this actually affects the way it plays, but it helps give the guitar a more premium look. With the Sonic, I think I'd be eager to upgrade it, but with the Affinity, I think I'd be happy just keeping it how it is. Tone-wise, I can't really decide if the pickups are different from the Sonic, but they almost sound like they have a little more top end, but maybe I'm just hearing things. The frets do stick out on this maple fretboard, but for some reason, the Affinity was one of my favorite guitars to play in this review. But this next guitar might make me reconsider. This is the Squier Classic Vibe Strat, and it's kind of a mystery to me. This guitar comes in at $429, and it's supposed to feel like a true Fender guitar. Visually, it looks awesome. The paint has a sparkle flake in it, the back of the neck has a gloss finish, as well as the headstock. The bridge has Squier stamped onto the saddles. It looks really professional. Now, it costs nearly $200 more than the Affinity, but while I was playing it, I wasn't really sure if it felt $200 better. does have Alnico pickups, which have a similar tone to the previous Squiers, but they seem to have more dimension to them, especially when you play softer. After playing the classic vibe, I think I was still set on the Affinity, but watching the footage back, I realized something kind of interesting, and it's something that might make this guitar the best value of them all. But we'll get to that in a minute. Now we're going to finally play some Fender guitars, and the first one up is the Fender Player 2 Limited Edition Strat. This is made in Ensenada, Mexico, and Mexican Strats are pretty popular with intermediates and pros. And you know what? I really like this guitar. This and the Squier Affinity were probably my favorites to play. This guitar comes in at $829, so a big jump from the Squiers, and it really should be a big jump in materials and build quality. Honestly, it feels great, and I love playing it. Now, I don't want to stop anyone from buying high-end gear, and while this is a great guitar, I noticed something interesting. This guitar actually has some similarities with the Squier Classic vibe. The bridge, the Alnico pickups, the vintage tuners, even the metal flake in the paint. Obviously they're not the same guitar, but they have a few similarities that make me wonder if maybe a Squier Classic vibe could actually be a pretty decent budget alternative to a Mexican Strat. I mean, you're gonna lose build quality and seeing Fender written on the headstock, but I mean for $400 cheaper, it could be worth it. Now, if you are into high-end guitars, I think you're gonna like these next two. Now we get to the big boys. The first one up is the Fender American Professional 2 Strat, currently selling for about $1,600. I know I'm supposed to say that the American Fenders are amazing and blow the other guitars away, but I've always been really interested in seeing how good you can make budget gear sound. And kind of like someone who's always drawn to bad relationships, I need a certain amount of drama and dysfunction to stay interested. So when I play a guitar that just works and I don't have to coerce it or find a workaround for some problem, it's like I don't know what to do. But so the second tone knob is a push pot, which switches the bridge humbucker into a single coil. It's not a drastic change, but it's cool to have the option. All in all, this is a great guitar. It feels great, sounds great. You cannot go wrong with an American Strat. And finally, the guitar that everyone's talking about, the one and only, the Mac Daddy, the Fender American Ultra 2 Strat. And my first impression with this guitar can be summed up in two words that will forever go down in infamy. Uh-oh. So this guitar has locking tuners, which I mistakenly thought needed to be loosened to tune the guitar, but they actually lock the strings into the tuners. So by loosening them, the strings will pop out of the tuners. Yeah, rookie mistake. And of course, the string didn't have enough slack for me to get it back in, so I had to do the walk of shame and admit my mistake.
I'm really embarrassed about this. I thought that these were locking.
That happens a lot, actually.
If the E string just popped, I can.
They are locks. You just gotta keep them locks is all. But yeah, I can throw a new one on there.
Fortunately, they were cool about it. They threw a new string on for me, and lesson learned. If I could sum this guitar up in one word, it would be modern. The pickguard, the bridge design, the fret dots on the side of the neck, even the contour on the back of the body. All this looks very modern to me. The neck is fat, which makes this guitar feel the most unique of all the ones I've played in this review. Tone-wise, it's also the most unique sounding. The pickups are very dimensional and almost have a hollow kind of sound to them. This guitar hides a switch on the volume knob, which, similar to the Professional 2, turns the bridge humbucker into a single coil. So you can still get those spanky single coil tones from the bridge humbucker. If you're looking for that traditional Strat sound and feel, this might not be the guitar for you, but if you're looking for something new and modern and just different, this could be what you're looking for. This guitar currently retails for a little more than $2,200, which is a pretty decent chunk of change. But if you're a professional musician, that's not a bad investment to get the tool that you need. But after doing this review, I think that we've seen some good options in pretty much every price range. So coming in sixth place is the Squier Sonic Strat. I thought that the Laurel fretboard was nice, but all the other parts seemed exactly like the ones already on my Squier. Then in fifth place, wait, hang on. God dang it.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. The other one's created.
Okay, while I finish the scoreboard, let me say first off that Fender knows how to price their guitars. So in general, the more money that you spend, the better quality guitar that you're gonna get. However, with my review, I wanted to emphasize the overall value that you get from each guitar, so my results are gonna look a lot different. For example, the Squier Affinity Strat comes in at an amazing second place because I think you're getting a lot of guitar for the price. Find one with a good fretboard and all you have to do is upgrade the pickups and you'll have an impressive sleeper build. The Fender Player 2 comes in third place because you get a solid Fender guitar for under $1,000. The Fender American Pro 2 comes in at 5th place, not because it's a bad guitar, but because I don't think there's a huge value in the price. You're just paying the price of a high-end guitar. The Fender Ultra 2 comes in at 4th place for the same reason, but it's pretty unique for a Strat, and so I give it bonus points for that, which means that the Squier Classic Vibe comes in at 1st place, which honestly was really unexpected, but I have to give it credit for bridging the gap between budget value and higher-end components.
Fight me in the comment section.
So, do I still think that Squier makes stinky guitars? No, I think they have some really nice guitars. You just have to make sure that you try them out and make sure that you're getting something that you really like so that you don't end up with something like this. All right, guys, let me know in the comments below which guitar was your favorite, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.
Can you get that classic Fender sound with a Squier, or is it like trying to drive a Ferrari on a moped? Is Squier the best kept secret in the guitar world, or is it just Fender on a diet? On a diet? What? Does Squier's price tag prove you don't need a Fender, or is it all smoke and mirrors?